I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Who are you?
Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video, and I fixed the lighting from the last video when I talked about Porky's 2 because I had to put the poster you usually see behind her, I had to put it up against the window so that it didn't look like heaven had entered the video. But heaven is a place on earth. So, getting to the last of the Porky's movies, Porky's Revenge from 1985. Now, like I said before, the Porky's were the American Pie films of their day. And by the way, if you ever want to request anything, you just send it via PayPal or Patreon. Join my Patreon or send it directly via PayPal. The links are down below. I promise I'll try to get to it as soon as I possible. I have a lot of stuff to get to, but just please bear with me. But Porky's Revenge came out in 1985. And by this point, it's run its course. To be honest, it's run its course. The films were going down in quality. I don't mind Porky's 2, but it was as good as the first one. This, for me, is the weakest of the three. I can still watch it because I do like these characters. I thought the actors, for what little they're given, it was nice to see them again. I don't know what you call it, a novelty of it, whatever. But I like seeing these guys. I thought they worked well together. That's why I would like to have seen a new documentary. A new documentary with all of these guys together talk about their experience making this film. Or a reunion. I don't know if there was ever a reunion with these guys, but that would be cool to see. Now, by this point, Bob Clark, who directed the first two, he did not do this film. He was off. He just wasn't interested, which I don't blame him. I mean, what more can you do with Porky's? And here, one of the things I disliked about this one, and this isn't a rant, I don't hate it, but it is my least favorite of the three. I liked in Porky's 2 how the character Pee-wee and then this girl Wendy, there's a growing romance between the two, which was kind of sweet. A nice turn of events. They completely nullify that in this. That's not brought up. It's like it never existed. Instead, Pee-wee wants to go on the Swedish lady. I think her name is Inga. The beginning, he fantasizes graduation, and she's getting naked, and he gets naked, and the crowd's applauding him. Then he wakes up. And I'm like, wait a minute, what about this whole thing with you and Wendy? Again, that's never brought up. And the Wendy character is in here, same actress. But you have different writers and a different director. In this case, James Komack. I don't know what else he's done. And the writer, Ziggy Steinberg. Ziggy wrote this? Fuck. Now, once again, it's the teenage shenanigans. Of course, this is before they graduate, which that's how the movie ends. And they're watching the Stag film. They get found out. Uh, as you tell by the cover, a lot of this deals with basketball and the basketball team. I would say technically this film has perhaps a more interesting plot than the second film. Because you do bring back the Porky's character from the first, only now he's rebuilt his club into this big houseboat. On the flip side, when you get to the end, they just smash it again, so it feels a bit redundant, like a repeat of the first film. But I mean, the stuff with the Shakespeare play and the second film were not really that intriguing to me. But again, the plot here, it says Porky's revenge. It's not really much of a revenge. So I don't know. But in the plot where they want to help their basketball coach, and so they make a deal with Porky to throw the basketball game, but of course they're not really going to. And in the midst of that, you get shenanigans. It feels like there's a bit more shenanigan stuff going on with this movie compared with the second film, so that's one positive I could say. Like the guys and girls get naked in a pool, but then the girls take all their clothes, so the guys are left naked. But then two parents come home, and so they're like, "Hey, nice party. It was great," and they walk on by. I didn't mind that moment. They want to help meet his biology class, so they can still play on the team. So they break into the teacher's home, steal the papers, but they find out she's a kinky lady who is with this other guy, whipping him and such. Ultimately, they go to Pee-wee's grandma, her house, to take pictures across the way. I like the grandma character. She would always take this loaf of bread, smack the shit out of Pee-wee, break the bread with his head. There's a point where the Wendy character finds out Miss Ballbricker from the first two, she had this long lost love, pretends like the guy's writing to her, sets up a point in a hotel room, but someone else enters there, not knowing. And so the both of them are making out, they realize who each other are, and like I said, watching it, really what I'm getting out of it is, number one, since the first film, it seems like the movies were not as raunchy. There was nudity, but the first film with the locker room scene with Kim Cattrall and the shower room scene where the guy sticks his pecker through, you don't see it, but the whole idea behind that. Pee-wee getting a big condom put over his head. And then the other guy wraps her around, walk around, slams into Miss Ballbricker, the thing deflates. That one seemed a bit more raunch compared to these films. I don't know if that was on purpose. I don't know if it was because of controversy. I don't know if it was because of some other aspects. I don't know. But they seem a bit tamer compared to the first one. Maybe that's just me. You know, the third act, they win the game. Porky, he's pissed. Kidnaps one of their own. The characters meet. They gotta find out how to rescue him. So they set up a plan. But this time, they fuck up the houseboat, because that's what the club has turned into, a houseboat. They fuck it up. Decent effects, like actual big houseboat being broken up and, you know, all done for real. It's just for the ending of these characters, it's just more of a whimper than a bane. It ends with the graduation and his dream, nightmare, fantasy, whatever you want to call it, comes true. Where his clothes come off and he's naked in front of everybody and the others laugh. And that's kind of how the movie ends. And I go, you know, this whole thing you said with Pee-wee and Wendy, if you were following through with that, that would have been nice and welcomed. I don't know, it's just something about it, just go, that reaction, and you go, wow. The first Porky's was a rather funny movie, but here, just the gags were not as entertaining or as hilarious as the first one, or to an extent the second film. So like I said, I just don't watch it as a time waster, but it just, maybe it's one of those things where it just ran its course. And technically all you needed was a first movie. The second film, like the Wendy, I could deal with that. And then the third one is like, like I said, if you like these type of teen sex comedies, I mean, these films are more wholesome than the shit of today. Because it's the raunch is the sex, the nudity, the beautiful girls. Okay, that's the type of raunch I'm fine with. But the nowadays, constant jokes of cum and farts and shit and or stuff like in the Vacation reboot or some of this other crap, Freddy Got Fingered, which is a piece of shit. That stuff is not my kind of raunch or edge. This is. So even a mediocre effort, I would still rather watch this than some of the stuff of today. And these guys help carry it for me. The fact that, for the most part, you had a consistent group of actors, that does help. With not only continuity, but you get to see, another chapter of their lives. I mean, the movie is still made about 20-30 million, and these films don't cost much to make. So I am surprised they did not do a fourth film where they were in college. Because it would seem like college would be the apt place for these guys, but... And there was kind of a remake, but it was one of those done just to keep the rights. I guess in order to do an official remake, which never happened. I forget the title, like Pee-wee's name is in the title. I forget what it is. I don't think it was ever actually released. I'm surprised there's never been an actual remake of this. But like I said before in the other videos, Porky's is a name that most people don't know, they don't remember, they don't think about, and I mean, they did this Ultimate Collection, which is neat, but yeah, they're not really movies that are that talked about, and the sequels aren't that great. I mean, there are much worse trilogies out there, and I could watch all three. I could watch them. The first one is clearly the best, like I said. The third film, I don't mind the song at the end, High School Nights. High School Nights. Yeah, I don't mind that song. One interesting bit about the third film is they do, after messing with Miss Ballbricker, they do find her true love. After that, she's less of a prick and more easygoing. So you do have a change of character by the third film, which is, I guess something. Oh, Porky's Revenge. Maybe just the whole concept was just a bit too long in the tooth by the time you get to 1985. And maybe the creative juices just were not there. Having a different director, which this guy, I don't think he's as good as Bob Clark. Bob Clark seemed like he had more of a handle on the material in the first and even the second film than this one. So, not having Bob Clark put a hand in writing, not having Bob Clark directed it, I do think that was a detriment to the flick overall. But yeah, why do I not hate it? Like I said, I like the actors. I don't mind the characters for what they are. It was just nice to see another journey with them. And it didn't do anything disastrously offensive in terms of... I mean, other than the one not keeping with the love story, the second film, that was the only thing that really made me mad. There's nothing else that made me mad. It was more like, a meh. If a movie's like a meh, Porky's Revenge is one of those. For me, at least. So with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.